having the club perspective, Erika's background with a coach position and leading her team now in currently the Swedish second league, the SDHL, we are moving forward in our presentation and will speak almost on the same topic, but we will have the representative Angelica Lindberg that works for the SDHL, the league where Erika's team currently are trying to battle for a spot for the next season. So I would like to ask Angelica if she could maybe put on her camera and microphone so we can have you here in the meeting. So Angelica, welcome to the IIHF Skills for All, and we're super excited to have you here representing the SDHL and talk about the work that you're doing in your league.
Thank you for having me.
And I think there as well, just as with Erika, we are going to start off with watching a little bit of a movie from the SDHL.
Yeah, to show our product. So take it away. Yeah, so now I'm going to share my screen. Now you see my screen, I think. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for having me. It's fun to share what we're doing at SDHL. And I want to start with this picture of our clubs. We are 10 clubs from north to south, and the reason we have this situational signs around 10 is because one team, Göteborg HC, has pulled out in the middle of the season due to financial problems. So during the qualifiers in a couple of months, where we will probably see Frölunda, two teams from the league below in NDHL will qualify for SDHL, but these are the 10 clubs from north to south in SDHL. And before we're heading to some more information about SDHL, I want to take the opportunity to show you some fun fact and fact that we are super proud of. And these are a couple of things from numbers to things about the audience at the SDHL. So we have SDHL are the second ranked league in ethics and morals among the leagues in Sweden, both men's team and women's. We're having 80% of the Swedes know SDHL, are familiar with SDHL and what we're doing. We are playing 108 regular games, and after we have the playoffs, that could be 27 games at the most. We are producing 7,260 articles in one calendar year. And last season, we had the attendance record during one playoff game where we had 7,765 people watching the decision game between Brynäs and Luleå. And that was a fun game to see. On the same time, we had 630,000 people and viewers in front of the TV screen, and that was a large number for us to see. We have a main partner that is Svenska Spel, a betting partner, and together with them we have 2.3 million in net reach together with Svenska Spel, that is the betting partner, and we have a potential reach in millions with 200 millions. So we're super proud of these numbers, and we will keep going and see if we can do more to perceive. If we are starting with our journey since 2016. We were formed 2016, and it was 2 years later that they decided to employ one, and that was me, Angelica Lindberg, and I was the first one to be hired. And before that, we had SDHL, who is the men's league, who was the financial contribution that we were dependent on. 1 year later, from when I was hired, we were acquired the commercial rights from the federation, and the same year we was having our first commercial rights signed with DHL, which enters as the league's first main partner. The same year, we also had our first TV agreement that was signed with Seymour and SVT. And before we had them, we actually had our clubs filming our games by themselves. So it was a good thing to write that TV agreement. 2 years later, from when I was hired, we hired the old player Gisela Ahlgren Blom as sports director. And she was also with us to write the historic collective agreement that was signed for the players. And 1 year ago, we had our historic investment in Swedish women's hockey when Svenska Spel entered as main sponsor, and also then for the men's leagues as well. And also this year, we hired Gustav Walterholm as a market communicator, and Gisela was entered to SHL, so we hired Oskar Alsenfelt as a new sports director. And as you can see, we are 3 persons working at SDHL as we speak. Our mission is that SDHL is working to develop Swedish women's hockey and the Swedish Women's Hockey League, both to develop talent and raise elite hockey players. We do this by coordinating resources, but also teams and committed partners. And our business idea is that we want to, as the highest league, popularize women's hockey in Sweden, but also create the best conditions for the associations in the league, the clubs. And our core values that we are having with us in every step we take is that we want to be brave, we want to be smart, and also we want to be innovative thinking. We have a vision that our ice hockey must be a hockey you not only want to take part in, but be a part of. So we are aiming to be Sweden's most healthy league. And for this, why we came across Sweden's most healthy league is because we believe that if the girls are feeling good off ice, they will present and be better on ice. And that is all about the conditions, about the economics, not to be working full-time and play hockey full-time. But we believe also that our clubs, as well as us, need to have a good economic to be healthy. So it's a lot of things you can put in this vision with to be the most healthy league. We have a goal. Our overall goal is that all players should be able to live on playing hockey, of course. But our first milestone is that every 4 Swedish players should provide on hockey year 2025. So 25% 2025. And why we say every 4th Swedish player is because the players that are coming from outside of Sweden tend to earn more money or can live on just playing hockey. So that's why, and also because we have an agreement with the federation that we should be making our players better and that they should have the best conditions to be able to take some medals that Erika Holst was talking about here earlier. So that is why we have every 4th Swedish players. But of course, we want like all players that are coming to SDHL to be able to just play hockey and to be the best player that they can be. But what do we have to do to be able to reach our vision, our 2 visions and our goals? We must be a little smarter than everybody else, be more braver than the most, get even tougher, and also think completely in new ways. And that is because we are, most of the times we are watching how the men's league or the men's hockey has been doing in the couple of 100 years, but we need to be able to think in completely new ways to find another economic, another income. How can we market the Swedish, or the women's hockey overall, and not only the Swedish hockey, but the women's hockey. And I think we need to be more smarter there to be able to think in completely new ways. Because we have this line that we are having with us mostly the time, and that is we should be able to look all hockey-loving girls in the eyes and be able to say we did everything we could. And that is, as we mentioned here, or what we're meaning here is that the girls that are playing are not seeing their future being in hockey because they cannot do an income on hockey. And we want to be able to do everything we can that they can, in a couple of years, just play hockey. And we think that is important to work in every step we take in every areas we are working within. We need to have this in our mind. How can we do to look in that little girl's eyes to just say we did everything we could, and hopefully in a couple of years we did everything we could so you could just play hockey. And hopefully we can in a couple of years. As we don't have that much of time, I will take a few areas we have in SDHL and go through just for you to know and get to know SDHL and how we are working. Within marketing and economics, we have a couple of partners today. I think we have like 2 main partners that are giving our biggest economics, but and why it says XX is because we have partners, but we also have companies that we are cooperating, but they are not like a partner. So that's why it says XX. In our economic journey, we have went from having 0 income, as I said in the first pictures, that we were depending on SHL, that they were having the economics for us. And from 0 income to now that we're having almost 14 million in income. And that's a lot for being the Women's Hockey League in Sweden right now, but we're hoping to, of course, grow that number a lot. And if we see to be able to have the girls only play hockey, we need to increase these numbers very much, of course. But we're very happy just for how far we've come this far. If we take the communication, we are, as I said, we have hired Gustav Walterholm as a communication marketing manager, and we are looking at a lot of the choice of channels. For example, how can we reach Generation Z, the younger generation, and we have managed to see like probably through TikTok. VSC is a global business for how do you say, Joel?
I think the word you're looking for is artificial.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and they are the global leader in that through sports video technology. So that with that being for that we have more videos to have through TikTok, and through that also be able to reach the Generation Z, but also to have more people see how good women's hockey are today. We have one thing that is audience recruitment. That is one of our probably most important question, both for us as a league, but also for the clubs. And it's about being credible, both against sponsors and the audience, and also against the TV agreement that we have. We need to be able to say that we have more people at the arena watching us more than we have now, even though we have a lot of people watching the games home at the sofa. When it comes to this tackle to the sports, we have, as you know, I think we have a pilot project right now with tackles, and the outcome so far this season is very good. We haven't, for example, have any disciplinary errands from last season and the seasons before. We've had a lot disciplinary errands, but now we don't have any. We are aware of that. It might be some injuries because we are only humans, and the players need to be able to practice on the tackles. But so far this season, it's very good. We have a referee investment together with the men's league and the Swedish Hockey Association, meaning that we have some of the referees from SDHL that are coming to our games and helping our most of the women referees, and also to be having a higher level at our games. And I think we are the only league in the world that having that cooperation between the men's league and the women's league, which we are very proud of as well. We have insurance through the collective agreement that we were having 2021, and the process forward that is important to have is the health insurance, and that is for players to have full coverage and also for them to get better than and also faster help in the event of injuries. So we're hoping that we in next season we will have that health insurance, and that will be a very good thing to have perceived. And we also have two questions, or we have a lot of questions, but two questions we are asking ourselves a lot is how can we become better? What position should we have in the world according to women's hockey? Because we are a little country. Sweden are we're having 10 millions living in Sweden. So how can we become even better? But what positions should we have in the women's hockey overall? And also, how can we help the Swedish national team to present better results in tournaments? And that's maybe one of our most important questions, because if the women's national team don't bring home the medals, we are having hard recruits more players, but also to the audience to come to our games. So that is also a very important questions that we are working with. Yeah, I think that was it.
Thank you so much, Angelica, and let's see if we can open up for any questions here from the room. Just use the Q&A function to come in here in our meeting room if you would have any questions to Angelica. I can take one of the questions here, Angelica, that came into us is, we talked with Erika before. She talked about the whole ladder with a club and a team having youth hockey, junior hockey, and in the end senior hockey, and you really work with the senior hockey part of each of the clubs. But how important is your long-term work with the club also to looking into establishing these junior leagues or the youth leagues that is all women's or female in that sense?
Well, it's very important. I can just state, like, we have one concrete thing we're doing within the league against the clubs to be able to have like more girls playing, and we have an incentive model which contains a few parts, where one of them is that every club should have a TKH, that is Tre Kronor Hockeyskola, which is a school, hockey school for girls, meaning that it should be a slot time only for girls. So that is one thing we have, like a concrete thing in our incentive model, and also they need to submit a plan for what efforts they will do over the season, and well, if there are any goals set. And we believe I would say we believe it's important that the clubs playing in hockey in SDHL understand the importance of having their own talent factory, as well as the Erika was talking about. I don't know if that was the question or the answer of your question, but yeah.
It definitely was, and I think that's really interesting. If you look traditionally on league activities, you know, maybe in a male perspective, professional hockey is, in the end goal is create revenue, but it's really interesting to hear your take on, you know, your mission and vision working with a women's elite and professional league compared to maybe some of our traditional male leagues in that way. And a bit on that question, we received one, on that topic, we received one question where they ask about the you know, the smarter, braver, tougher, and new ways that you really have as the lead part in your work. So the question that came in, you talked about the way you need to be smarter, be a little bit braver, a little bit tougher in a sport module that works completely fine in the male segment. So the SHL that you work very close with, they are very successful bringing revenue, interest, player development, etc. Why do you think you need to work really in ways of maybe being smarter, braver than a module that is already existing and very actively working in the male side, but on the women's side, maybe not as much?
That's a very good question. I think always when we're looking to the male side and how they have gone successful, that's because they have this volume of players, they have the volume of the audience, the people that are watching the games. So that is why that it's a good start of doing these things. We are having like another thing. We have not that many play, we have not that many audience. So we need to see how can we, to begin with, see how can we get the people coming to our arenas. And that's not maybe just getting out on the social media saying, hey, come to our game and watch Hanna Olsson in Frölunda play. We need to do more, and maybe to be, as I said, we need to do it in another way, and also to be more brave and maybe go outside of the box to see what can we do to be, we are talking a lot of like, how can we be more than hockey? How can we not just like selling hockey? How can we do more than that? So I don't know.
Oh, thank you so much, Angelica, in that reply. And I think that a follow-up from one of our reviewers is on the same topic almost, but they are really curious to know if you have any examples of being smarter in working with a league perspective and working with your clubs. Do you have any concrete action or something in your plans about that specific topic of being smarter?
Well, I think if we're going on the commercial side, because the sport is sport, and they're playing hockey, but in the commercial way, we are only working with packages that are driven by the communication. We are not having the ice commercial. We don't have the board commercial. So what we are selling to the business or the companies are like only communication. So that I think it's a smart thing, and also for the communication to be that if they are sponsor SDHL, it says much more if we do a communication together and do a change rather than being in the ice. What does that said? So I think that is an example for how we are looking and working to be a smart, and also to be more concrete than just being on the ice with the logo.
So you mentioned a little bit, and I think this topic, this question goes into the topic about how you work with your partners. So in many ways, you said you work very closely to the national team and the Swedish Hockey Association. That might be a bit of a hybrid solution if you look on many other leagues, compared to the male side, where it's really separated from the interest of the federation. It works with the revenue for the clubs and driving that side. Some of our smaller M&As participating today, maybe they host their national championship on the women's side through the federation. There is not an organization with sharing economical interest as you do in maybe a male league in that sense. And and you said that you serve your members, revenue and working with them in a traditional league perspective, but also working to serve to bring better performance and medals to the federation and to the national teams. How important is your cooperation with the federation outside maybe some of the traditional systems of disciplinary scheduling, national team breaks? Do you have any cooperation with the Swedish Federation in other matters that are not competitive matters in that sense?
Yeah, we are cooperate a lot with the federation, and I think it's very important that we do. We depend on each other in a way that the men's hockey is not. The players who play in the national team largely play in SDHL, and we believe that if we have greater success with the national team, both more girls will start playing, and also the audience will come to the games more likely. So that is not a competitive, that is how we can grow the economics and also the value of playing hockey as a girl or as a woman. But another thing is the attitude and the culture to women's hockey. It needs to change and also get better. And to achieve that, we all need to work and cooperate. And I would say in the end, the women's hockey or the woman that plays wants respect for the hard work they put in. And that we all can give them, and that I think we can give them if we are cooperating across the companies. We are the league, but we need the federation, and they need us as well.
So we received here another question from the audience, maybe not really SDHL related, but it's truly with organizing women's and girls sports and maybe some of the challenges that you said and talked about hands-on when you lack maybe of players or organizational resources to bring full line of competition. So in this particular question, it's a country that has a problem to organize all female leagues in a traditional way, where maybe the lack of players there. Do you see from your experience that the women's hockey needs to find their own way to be organized, maybe look into competition to maintain that competitive environment, all girls, all women in that way, or what is your take on that?
I think for sure we need to find another way. And of course, if we are having a lack of players, we need to find another way, because the men's league or the men's hockey are like having a volume that can do their way, but we cannot copy that because we're not having that much of players. So we need to find a new way, and the new way maybe could be like we need to cooperate across the countries as well to give our good what we've done maybe can help another country and the other way around. So that is not maybe the answer to the question, but I would like to the person who asked that question, that maybe we could have a talk outside this room to have more information as well, to see what we can do to help.
Angelica, we are super happy that you was able to join us here at the Skills4All and talk about your journey and the work within women's ice hockey in Sweden. Thank you so much, and we truly hope that you break the record here with attendance in the upcoming playoff as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.